efficiency and cost and outcome. That, if you put those three things together, it's a very neat contest between all those three. Costs inevitably has to come right at the top, simply because litigation is so expensive, in Hong Kong. But unless you get an outcome, all that money is going to go to waste. So there's sort of that drives the fact that you need an efficient process to keep your costs under control. So I think certainty is not achievable in litigation. I think anybody who litigates knows that.
Yes, I thought there were some quite interesting points that came out of the statistics. First of all, Hong Kong came out much higher on the financial outcomes of dispute resolution. So whereas a lot of the other global voting, had financial outcomes as the highest priority, Hong Kong's was higher by quite some league. And the parties were 80-something% in terms of choosing that outcome. So very strongly financially driven. And in a way, surprisingly, and all the panelists were surprised by this, the relationship aspect came out very low. And that was a consistent theme in the statistics to all the questions. Much lower than the global results to date, much lower than you expect actually for a town like Hong Kong. But so really in that sort of pressure between financial outcomes and kind of relationship maintaining processes, Hong Kong went financial. Another point I thought was quite interesting was how high users, parties, put confidentiality as one of the things they're looking for. Something like 40%, much higher than the global results and much higher than the other stakeholders. And that would suggest that there is an appetite for more confidential processes. I think you've seen that already in Hong Kong with the real growth in arbitration in the last few years. But actually, it must mean that there's an appetite for mediated outcomes, for other forms of adjudication and so on. And to that end, it's quite surprising we haven't seen more take-up of mediation to date in Hong Kong. But it looks to me like the appetite is there for those kind of processes. So I think those are probably my two key takeaways. Otherwise, Hong Kong did generally follow the same sort of outcomes globally, but generally with a wider spread. So other than that financial outcome I mentioned, generally much less pronounced outcomes. And actually advisors here were coming out much more aligned with users in terms of their answers than has been the norm in some of the other events. So really quite interesting set of statistical results.